All right, welcome back to Inspired Creation. I know it's been probably just a little over a month since I made my last video. If you're someone who's been watching, I apologize for that. I know it's not very many people yet, but still, I would like to keep this going here. And first, this video is going to be called Manifestation Realized. And the reason for that is because I finally manifested a big dream of mine that I've always wanted to do for, uh, about the past 15 years or so. And I finally made it happen. So this is part of why I haven't made a video in a while. Um, some of it was just that I've been continuing to seek and learn and grow more. And so I kind of wanted to take a pause from the making videos because your understandings of things keep growing and etc. So I just wanted to continue my journey and just give a little pause on that for a minute. On top of that, I've been accomplishing some things, been working on myself and my own mastering of myself, and also been living, and experiencing. So this is what this video is going to be about. And I really should learn how to make these videos better and whatnot. Uh, and I'll probably do that over time. But at the moment, this will do. So I'm gonna just show you some photos. I finally got some pictures developed from the trip. And so we'll just talk about it a little bit here. Like, to be honest, it's not like it's all that huge of a thing, but to me, it actually really, really was. You know, my kids, my son is 17 now, so he's about to be, 18 pretty soon, growing up. My daughter is 15, right? And so, for most of their lives, I've always wanted to make sure that we took like one, really big, nice, like family vacation together. You know what I mean? And go somewhere that we've never gone. Like, for me, in my life, like I've never been nowhere. You know what I mean? And even when I was older, and had money and everything and whatever in my life, right? Like, I was always tied down to all these things and stuck in the rat race and all this shit. There was always some reason, no matter how much financial ability I had to do these things, there's always a reason to not do all these things. And so I never really experienced shit, like, just to be honest with you. And this kind of continued throughout these years, raising my kids and etc. In fact, any adults with responsibilities know how that creates, even more anchors and pressure, all types of things, for you. It can be great and it can also be heavy, So, anyways, like, so I always wanted to do this with them, and there was just always something, it would never happen, never, 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 and I'm going through this process here, and after a while, it came to me, well, to start trying to purposely manifest the things, bring about the things that I actually desire and want to experience. And one of the biggest things was that, like, I really wanted us to up and leave and go somewhere, and uh, so, but it also couldn't be done in a way that's gonna like break the bank and put us in some type of financial restraints or something, and all these other reasons and things that you have to stay, usually work and shit like that is a big thing, etc. So anyways, I started to like really think about this and just like making it happen and etc. And it had its trials and tribulations, like not once I started this process, it didn't. Beforehand and years leading up to this, it was getting heavier and heavier on my mind and wanting to do it, wanting to make it happen. But things would keep making it so impossible. Uh, and so, some things were even more than that, like even adding people to it, which would make it, even more obviously expensive and even more hard to conflict schedules and shit. And, like all of it, always the more you add to something is the harder it is to do. And, so like I was, letting that actually be a problem for a long time, like another reason not to be able to do it, you know? And, so, everything's been going on with, awakening and seeking and etc. and working on, masteries and meditation and, everything, right? And so I start to focus on realizing that I'm a creator and wanting to create my reality. So let's do it, all right? So I started to put more, thought and energy, and uh, I really just let it kind of be. It was a little random, but when I would get the thought and the feeling to, hey, look at this right now and see what would it really take, etc. That feeling would hit me, and I would just go and do it. Go jump on the internet. What would it really take? Go jump on here. What would it really take? Talk to people, figure out time frames. What would it really take? And in that, like, it all just kind of like at first, right? It was like, damn, that might be impossible, might not be doable. And that was on the financial aspect, right? And it was because like off top it would have been almost $11,000, and then you're talking about food money for the whole week and etc. Spending money, souvenirs and shit. Like there's like other expenses in this shit, right? Like it doesn't even include like baggage and shit, which is like $150 each way, right? Anyways, off topic. So it was like it was really expensive, and so at first, like it seemed like, and I just like, no, it's not, And I thought to myself, again, what would it take? And I thought to myself, you know what? If I had X amount of dollars in the bank, right, and I could really tell you what that is. I mean, it's kind of irrelevant. It's more relevant to my mindset and what I need to make sure I'm comfortable. We can pay the bills, everything's all good, nothing to worry. And then on top of that, we're able to spend this money. It's not an issue. All right. So I got this number in my head of like, if I had this much, that would be just fine. It wouldn't matter. Everybody would go, it'd just be all good. You know what I'm saying? And we're just doing it and we're doing it now, right? Um, and two things happened. I had, I had that thought and feeling and etc. Right? And then, I walked away from it and I went about my business, for the day, not only that day, but a couple of days, and I hadn't really paid it too much mind, and the next time I did get the feeling to, jump back on and let's start checking some other dates and let's start seeing some other options here, right? So I did that again. I had that feeling to go and start looking again, and so I did. And I changed the dates. Well, instead of this was one of the things that happened. Instead of us going specifically during this time, what if we just take it back like a few more weeks or something? What if we take it back even a month or something? And so I started to put that into because they have this little calculator thing. You put in how many people want to go, what type of stuff you want, what dates, etc. And then it'll come up with a whole price for you, right? And so all I did was change the dates. Everything else was the same. I just put it to different weeks that we could make it possible to go. Even though some people would protest to it, my mindset was, well, you know what? Then either you want to go or you don't, right? And that's kind of how I felt. And so that's how I was rolling. And so I looked and I come to find that I put these other dates in and I'm getting better and better prices, better and better prices. And so I started to realize really that I just had to be a little more flexible, than even I was already trying to be, you know. And so I kept following some different dates, and I came across one, and it wasn't even all that far away from when I was originally thinking to go. It was like the meme, like I really wanted to go right now, you know. But to make it good for kids with school and shit and this and that or whatever, and girlfriend with work and stuff, stuff like that, right? The original date was it turned out to be a really expensive time frame, And so it gave me skewed perception of how much this really had to cost, you know. And when I just looked later and found out what, you know, look at these other times, look at this other things, right? I'm not aware of this. I'm not a travel person. Well, then I discovered now that this trip is almost half the price. So it became incredibly more doable. Like that was automatic trigger. We're going now, right? We're gonna set this up. It's not gonna be the week we thought, you know what I'm saying? But it's coming about 3, 4 weeks out, and we're going, and that's damn it, right? And you know, little protests here and there, little protests here and there. Not really much of nothing. Doesn't take a whole lot of convincing when it comes down to, hey, you want to go or you don't, right? People want to go. You want to go. You want, let's go have fun, right? Seriously. Uh, so, you know, on top of that, the next thing that happened was, you know, a few weeks later, right? Because the setup for this is right around like tax time, you know, and I was pretty delayed in filing mine. Uh, and so when I went and did it, you know, usually I'm pretty on. I already pretty much know what's going to happen with that and everything. But this time when I went and did it, it turned out I got a few thousand more than I thought I was going to. And when I got back, you know, I was happy about that. Like, cool, you know, just, not all ecstatic, but you know, awesome, you know, good shit, right? But when I got home, I thought about it, you know, and I added that up with what I already had in savings and et cetera, right? And wouldn't you know, it turned out to the same number I thought in my head. If I have this, that's it, we're all going. Right? So two things actually happened in that, in me just following my intuition and very purely intensive on what I wanted to do, and then also being patient and flexible, right? Two giant things happened to that. The cost of the trip went down almost half the price, and was a base cost anyways. And on top of that, I also received the the money, the amount of money that I was already thinking in my head, I need this much, and if I get this, we're going. Right? Both of those things happened. So dun dun dun, we went. Right? Now, to a lot of people, this may not seem like a really big thing again, and this is why I kind of gave you the setup. You know, people, I realize people take trips all the time and do things all the time and et cetera and whatever. And let me tell you, from my life and perspective and et cetera, I don't. Haven't gotten to experience that. This is something that is now going to start to be part of my experience because I want to go and see the world. I want to go experience other things. And I got to tell you, a few years back, like one of the biggest, like, eye-opening days I had was one of the days where the epiphany just hit me of like how small my world really was, you know, because I had never really been anywhere and never really done shit, to be honest with you. I mean, as far as here in my city, in my community, in my life, yeah, I've lived my life and done a lot of shit. But in the grand scheme of all things, I've been nowhere and I've really done and seen nothing. Uh, and that's just really flat out how it is. And that's gonna start to change. That's not gonna be my reality anymore. So here's just a couple of photos, you know, just to kind of quick show you real quick that we actually went on and did this, right? And this just happened. So you know, here's us taking off. One of these, actually, I think both of these are when we were on the way back. This is when we were in Florida, taking off to come back home. You know. Uh, Got some photos here just at the place because we decided to go to Universal Studios Florida for a week and just go stay and keep it there, just enjoy ourselves, man. Which was an awesome idea because you know the way they got it set up, it's almost like seeing multiple attractions all at once. It's just a huge place and got all kinds of different stuff. So you know, we thought that was really cool. Like, so we got like you know photos of like being in the airport in Chicago. You know, that's my son there. You know, just some cool stuff. You know, nighttime outside the Universal thing. You know, there's just so many here. You know, like it's beyond the point. Like I'm sure nobody wants to sit here and watch me flip through our photos of our trip. Like this is kind of cool. They had this big show at Poseidon's Fury or whatever it is, right? That was awesome. We had a great time at that. I really gotta say, taking pictures at their little Hollywood area they got and stuff, like all kinds of stuff. Um, I took these pictures here with the Griffin, and that was awesome. I thought it was cool how the light was. That's a regular fire. When you look at it, it's just fire, but the pictures I took from it next to it, it's glowing purple. So that was pretty cool. My son also took pictures next to it too, and it's not purple. It just looks like fire. I don't know what's up with that, but it happened, and I got photos of it. There's so many things, man. I really like even just thinking about it, like it really makes me smile and feel good. The Kong attraction, that ride was really cool. All the Jurassic Park stuff, that was my son there in those pictures. We had a really great time. Um, And this is what it's all about, man. More life, more living, more having fun. Like you don't know, like uh, I try to do fun activities and things, with my kids and taking places and stuff, But this was like on another level for us, We got to up and leave this place and be something we're completely different, which was amazing, by the way, too. I mean, even just driving down the freeway, right, and looking at the palm trees and things instead of the normal type of trees that we're used to looking to, and seeing a lot of different, just stuff that you don't normally come in contact with. It gives you a whole other feeling, and it was really fun. You know what I'm saying? And with all the bullshit and all the stress and all the work and all the tiresome, all the all the mess, what are we doing not having fun? I want to have some fun. It's time to enjoy some fun. So I'm really happy that I finally woke up and got a clue and got to take my kids to go do this. Like, look how close I got, right, to the border. I always wanted to do this at least before they were 18, before they were grown, right? My son is 17 years old before we finally went. Finally. you know, but we did. Like here's the mummy ride. When you get off, you're all in the mummy shop and exhibit. It's pretty cool. The Men in Black thing, like they had parades and stuff. The thing was just awesome, man. Totally awesome. It makes you, to be honest, not even want to come home. But you do. You know what I'm saying? But it does, man. It makes you like some of the cool giant like architecture and like statues and stuff, man. Like man, next time I want to go to some places where like some of these statues and architecture and stuff are like more like real, like they're not made for attraction. You know what I'm saying? I want to go see some stuff like that. See some scenery and things like that. See how that makes you feel. This it was such a good experience for me, for us in general. Um, and like when we got back, it's like God, I just want to go again. I do. I just want to go again. I just want to let's pick another place and just go. I really feel like that, and actually, I'm contemplating right now. The inner me wants to just that's it. Let me pick another one right now and let's do it. The outer me, right? The part that I probably shouldn't pay so much attention to, right? Most of the problem is you pay too much attention to that anxiety, fear, shit, whatever, your whole life, and that's why you follow the programming, right? And we're breaking out of that. Uh, at the same time, I'm not going to mess up my life and put us in hardship just in order to travel, right? So this is like the contemplation, um, but I'm gonna be very more going with the flow, definitely, and very more open and very more relaxed about it. And at the same time, when I get that feeling, just decisive about it too. And we're just gonna go. So I imagine I got another trip coming up here, to be honest, because that's already the way I'm feeling. And 2 days ago, I was looking online at something else, So I'm really thinking that that's going to start happening more frequently. Um, for me, a really great thing about it was it was like a solidification of what's going on with me, and that this this works. Living more balanced, relaxed, calm state of being, of life, of existence, of going with the flow, and having your eyes open at the same time. Like, uh, yeah, I'm so free now. I can't tell you how free I feel. And man, I never felt like this. If you watch one of my videos before, I touched on, and this is where I think like some of my awakening really started happening, and things really started happening for me. Even though I didn't realize, I didn't understand, I didn't until the eclipse. When the eclipse came, it was a whole nother level. But looking back now with, eyes wide open, right, like I can see how things have been going on for much longer. And a big one was just, when I was in prison. I spent 4 years in prison, and I can't tell you how that was like the first time in life that I ever found peace. Uh, and and things, prison is not great. Prison sucks. Prison is fucked up. It's for the birds. It's not the place to be. But when I tell you I found something in there, I'm not lying. I believe now I understand the reason why is because it was the first time I could sit in quiet, right? And just sit in quiet. And I did the things there that you're supposed to do, and I just did them instinctively, without understanding any knowledge, any teachings, any understanding of any of this mess. I was just already doing these, contemplating life, people, myself, why we all do the things we do, etc. All types of things. I had made uh, solid and pure intent and decisiveness on things that I was going to do while I was there, things that I was going to work on, ways that I was going to be, and I did. So in every way, all shapes and forms, I was incredibly healthy. I was actually fairly happy for being in prison. Uh, I had some more size to me, and it was all muscle, no fat. Like, and it felt really good. I could run. I could run really far. I could run 5 miles no nonstop with no problem. Like everything was really. I had a really clear mind. Vision. Like all it was a whole nother way of life, actually. Um, and it shows you how messed up it is and how much of a problem is going on in our society that for me being the person I was and trying as hard as I did and everything the way it was, like, and for me to only find peace for the first time in life in prison, that tells you something about our society out here. This shit is broken. Uh, So, we're going to take it upon ourselves, man, take our own responsibility. Taking responsibility is empowerment, and this is what we're doing. And we're learning and we're growing and we're learning to master ourselves, take responsibility for our lives, for our realities that we create, for the people that we care for and are around us, and for those that we can touch. And, this is why I want to make these videos, because I can see now and I understand, and we gotta help each other. We gotta help each other wake up. Like one of the biggest things for me that I had to get over, because it is one of the pitfalls, and I might have mentioned this before in one of my videos, is waking up to this. At first it can be pretty offensive that this knowledge is out here, this understanding is out here. You know, it even is offensive that not only is it out here, but there's a dark side to it too, which is all twisted, and that shit is real too. It's on you, on the path you choose to go. If you're gonna go here, you're gonna go here. That's the inner struggle within you. Both exist, And that can be offensive, that all this is here and it's hidden from you and you don't understand, and you're just allowed to make all these mistakes. In fact, people prey on that and push you to that because it benefits them. And that can be real offensive, but you gotta get over that. And we're just taking, you know, we're gonna be grateful that we are waking up. We're gonna be grateful that we are gaining understanding and growing, and we're gonna take responsibility for our lives. We're gonna take responsibility for our communities. We're gonna take responsibility for our people, all right? And that's necessary. I'm a real pretty introverted person by nature. All right, and explaining things to people, although it seems to be like a gift to me sometimes. At the same time, I hate doing it, and I don't really like trying to, because boy, it can be so frustrating. And at the same time, like, so while taking a step back and not doing it, you can find your own peace and like solace in that. At the same time, you're not helping. Uh, Promote change. You're not helping to create anything better. So one of the big teachings, right, is just when you start learning all this and coming across this, is to step back as far as you can. If you are able to leave because you don't have anchors, leave and go learn for a year or two, and then you gain your self mastery, you gain your own personal sovereignty, and then you come back to the community. This is the teaching, and then you help your community and you help the people around you, the people that you can, as much people as you can affect, right? Without sounding like a crazy person, because then people won't listen to you, right? You gotta be smart about this. Okay? Uh, and so if you're like me and all right, I'm not really able to just up and leave and have my personal time so I gotta find my personal time in each day and find my personal time in each night, find my personal time that I can. And so I'm consistently here, which, this makes it a little more of a struggle. It makes it a little harder to get to where you're going than it would be if you were to be able to go away and just focus and just be in your own energy, right? Yeah, but I think also maybe at the end of the day that might help me to get a little further, to be honest with you, because while I'm going through this process, I'm gonna have to deal with these things. These things are gonna have to be right here, right in my face for me to deal with as I'm trying to progress through it, right? So I'm gonna take that as its own blessing as well. I'm gonna take responsibility in that and not be a victim in that, right? That's what we do. And so, part of me trying to make these videos, whether people listen or they don't, you know, uh, time will tell on that. And, it'll be for who it's for. Who's supposed to get it will get it. Right. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. That's the other good thing about these videos. It's going to float around down here for who knows how many years. And whenever you come across it, you're now. Okay, so this is what we're doing. We're trying to help people understand while they're going through the process, just as I'm trying to understand, and there's places where I go for information, and believe me, I have to discern through all of them as I do, just like we all do. Because man, boy, there's a little truth in every fiction and a little fiction in every truth, and you got to be able to see that, and you got to be able to discern that for yourself. You got to take steps back and have a higher perception, and and judge things by their fruits. Okay, judge people, judge things by their fruits. Right, it'll help you discern sometimes. Intuition is a great thing. I'm gonna make some more videos. I know I didn't finish talking about experiences, like receiving the download and some other things like that. Okay, we're gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna try and I'm going to get back into making more videos. I think maybe my priorities changed on which ones will go when, so we'll see what happens next. Thanks for coming. Thank you for watching just a little bit of seeing my manifestation happen. Because to me, it was a beautiful thing. It was such a beautiful thing. And I can't wait to do it again. I'm currently working on manifesting other things for myself. Uh, and if it really goes down the way, I think manifesting things for all of us. Um, because we're affecting this collective consciousness too. All right. and let's do that responsibly, and then be careful and make sure we're not counterproductive. So I wish everybody light and love. Thanks for coming, and see you again soon.